Well, I've been back a couple of days. I've acclimated to my conditions. Let's talk about the woods, shall we? What did I discover as a city slicker? I blend in among old burnt out trees. They're old and they're burnt out. And at my age, that's the way you feel. And they had orange stripes on them, which means the loggers are going to come and cut them down soon. Yeah, I fit in perfectly. I did realize about the dust and the dirt. Didn't think about the pine needles. They get everywhere. All through everything. But some of the good things were that there was a good sound in the wind through the trees. I did a video on that, I thought it was kind of pretty. However, those trees hold enemies to the humankind. It's true. It's true. You have dive bomber hummingbirds going around your head, diving at your head. You're ducking. Their wings are flapping so hard, they're making noise, and you just can't get away from them. And there's hundreds of them. These little devils just dive bombing, just down to your head. Very aggravating. I used to like hummingbirds. I thought they were really cute. Not in the hundreds. Not when you're in the woods. Not fun. However, there is no smell of garbage or exhaust. Happily. I didn't know that people will put tacks and things down, and before you go into a site, you should check it out before you drive in, because they intentionally leave these to damage your vehicle. How kind. Then you have flies. Now, flies and bugs aren't necessarily the worst thing in the world. But did you know that flies, when they land, poop? I'm covered in poop all day long. I'm trying to wash my hair with cornstarch and my face and body in the evening, every evening. And the next morning, flies land on me and I got poop again. I feel like I'm covered with fly poop. Have you ever thought about that? At least in the house you can kill them, but these suckers are so fast you can't catch them. So, that was kind of interesting. Didn't know that. Then, there are other things that made an impression. There is stillness in the night. It's coal black. You don't know anything about anybody. I didn't get scared after about the third night. I just went to sleep. But it's very dark. And at night, it's very, very quiet. However, during the day, you have to fight off wasps and bees and bugs this big. And they're very loud, some of these bugs. And then you've got birds that are up in the trees that think they can sing and they can't. It's not music to your ears, okay? They're very bad singers, and they have a very bad sound. And it's about time to pull out your aspirin at this time, because you've now got a headache. Dive bombing hummingbirds, bugs, flies, very interesting. I didn't run into so much of this in the desert, but in the woods, they're plentiful. And yes, I did get stung. It's amazing. Then you have these little bitty creatures. Oh, they're so cute, with big ears and long tails, called mice and rats. They eat your wiring. Funsville, thousands of dollars of damage done. Luckily, I start my car in the morning, I start my car at night, I leave the hood up. Very fanatical. I left a light on one night, and on the hood. I mean, on the engine. Luckily, I walked out without any of these little rodents hitching a ride. I think they're trying to escape, to be honest with you. Why else would they be there? I mean, they're better off in the city where there's garbage and stuff, But wiring is not pleasant, so who am I to say? But I think they're hitchhikers, really. That's really what they're trying to do, to escape their reality. Okay, so I think we've talked about most of it. I think we talked about the dust and the grime. I'm being told there is a serenity to being in the woods. There's no shopping. You gotta drive down the mountain to get some food. Well, thank goodness I keep food. No internet, no phone. That's not happiness. I have discovered I need the internet, I need the phone. So these are just a few of the exciting and interesting things that I discovered in the woods. Did I have a good or a bad experience? I escaped to the woods to get away from the heat. That was wonderful. We had evenings that were in the 50s and 60s, and we could sleep soundly. Not too hot a days, so they were miserable while I was gone. And they had in the hundreds where I lived just about the whole time I was gone. Since I've been back, it's been much cooler. I know it's not going to stay this way. But I did enjoy the clean air. And it helped with my cough a little bit. Quite a bit at first. But, you adjust to everything. I don't know that food tastes better on an open flame. I don't know that. I cooked on it, but I didn't think it was that much better. That's kind of a myth, I think. But I don't know, because someone who's lived on the trail, like those cattlemen, and they had a cook with them, they seem to like the food. I don't know. I have no idea. You're dealing with wind, and you need a windscreen around your cooker. I mean, lots of interesting things for a city slicker. There are no crowds. That's one good thing. No traffic, no crowds. You can find open spaces in the trees, so that's kind of exciting. Of course, I'm a people person. But I have to say, the most important thing in this whole trip was Marley. Watching her happiness and her joy at being able to explore. And we'd walk and she'd explore. And I didn't worry about her being off the leash, because she always stayed around the van. I mean, she'd do this or that, but she'd just explore. She had the greatest time. Coming home was not so good, but she had the greatest time. That was a real joy. That was something to see, how happy it made her. So I'm going to end this video. I don't know. Yes, I would go back into the woods. I would not go back by myself. I would try to find somewhere where there's internet. It wasn't, I think, a safe thing for a solo female to do by herself, but many women do it. As Mary showed me, she's been doing it 6 years out of her car. Or 4 years. She corrected that. 4 years out of her car. I've met many, many people, men and women, mainly a lot of men, who were living out of vehicles. So it was amazing to see. There are just as many in the city, but there's a lot in the woods. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.